spend the night together. They said we were too young. Our kind of love was no fun. But our love comes from above.
Do it.
Let's make love.
What's up, every pony? It's Weird Alicorn. I'm back today to read more of Pony Fix today, and today I'm joined with a celebrity guest, if you will. Her name is Lana Legion. Everyone say hello to Lana Legion.
Hello, Lana Legion.
How you doing? Doing
I'm
good.
right.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. Because today we're gonna be reading A Weekend Made for Spike. It's written by Path of Cloud. I'm sure a couple people have heard this because it has a lot of views on it. And it's a CLOP.
It's a good fic.
It's a CLOP. It's a CLOPy fic. So, yep. NSFW warning right at the beginning right here, everyone, because...
Not safe for Woona.
No, it's not. It's too much. Anyway, I'm going to read the description here, guys, just so you guys know what you're getting into. It's a sex, romance, alternate universe, and an anthrofic. It says, Rarity feels guilty about all the work Spike has done for her over the years. In order to soothe her guilt, Rarity decides to be Spike's maid while he stays with her for the weekend. Spike is hesitant, though, and things take a turn that neither of them expected. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we'll see how this goes. We'll see. Anyway, let's get.
By the way, if you're not over the age of 17 years old, your parents would probably appreciate it if you exited out of this like right now.
Yeah, you could do that, or you can just give no fucks. Or rather, that's exactly what we will be doing. But
we will be giving the fucks. Thank you.
We'll be handing them out like candy.
It's getting close to Halloween.
It
Trick or
is,
treat, motherfuckers.
Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna be narrating and doing some voices. Lana's gonna be doing some voices as well. So we'll get right on to the first chapter, entitled Friday. It's Friday. Even though it's
Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
Yes. Alright, I think you start us off, Lana. Oh, you go ahead.
Twilight, darling, I'm over here.
A white unicorn beckoned. She was sitting at a small table on an outside patio. She had long, smooth, furry legs, a curvy ass, and large, perky breasts. She wore a flowing white, sleeveless dress that ended before her knees. It had light sapphire blue trim that matched her eyes, and purple swirls stemmed from the trim, matching her expertly styled mane, tail, and fingernails.
Hey, Rarity.
A purple unicorn waved, answering her friend's call. She walked over to the table on her own long legs, a much smaller rear, and a nice playful set of medium-sized breasts. She was sporting her normal purple and pink sweater vest, as well as a pink and purple striped miniskirt.
So, Twilight, what did you want to talk to me about? Also, I love your choice of rendezvous. Such a quaint little restaurant.
Rarity sipped on a cup of tea she ordered while waiting for Twilight.
I wanted to thank you again for offering to watch Spike while I'm in Kennerlet this weekend. You're welcome, dear. It's no big deal, really. Actually, that's not the only reason I asked you here. Oh?
She perked up, hoping for some juicy gossip.
How to put this? I don't want you to overwork Spike while he's staying with you,
Twilight said, nervously voicing her concern.
Excuse me?
Rarity asked, outraged at the accusation.
Come on, Rarity. You know that you have a habit of using Spike's feelings towards you to get favors and work out of him. He'd move your boutique across town if it made you happy. I don't want him coming home Monday night and being too exhausted to move Tuesday,
Twilight said, abandoning her nervousness and adapting a blunt tone.
I do not take advantage of him. He does stuff for you, too.
Rarity said, her voice escalating to match her rising offense.
He's my assistant, and I never push him too far. Nor does he do it for free. He gets food, a place to live, and payment for his assistance. Rarity, I'm not trying to offend you, but you have to be aware of the length Spike goes to for you. You're not blind, and we both know you're too smart to be oblivious of it.
Even though she had been trying not to, she knew that she sounded accusing and angry, in part because she was, but also because Rarity had attempted to claim that Twilight used Spike.
Why don't you ask one of the other girls to watch him then?
Rarity slammed her fist against the table. Nice sound effects.
He's 16, and he wanted to be left alone. He only agreed to stay with you because it was you. Fine, I'll show you. Spike won't lift a finger this weekend. I'll wait on him for a change.
Rarity got up and stormed off.
Too easy. Just have to know which buttons to push. I hope Spike appreciates this chance to show Rarity how hard it is to wait on someone hand and hoof, or I guess in his case, hand and claw. A change of perspective is always good for a relationship, after all. At least, that's what my book says. And I've never doubted my books before.
Twilight tapped her fingers together, proud of how well her plan was going. She ordered breakfast, blissfully unaware of just how well her plan would work. The door to Carousel Boutique swung open, and in walked a tall figure. Rarity? Are you in here? Why is it so dark? The figure asked, his strong voice piercing through the darkness. The door slammed behind the figure, and the light flickered on. The figure was a tall amethyst purple dragon with large leathery feathers that draped down his back and green spikes running down his head, along his back and all the way to the tip of his tail. He wore a black coat with emerald green flames raging upwards into the darkness, a tan t-shirt made to look like parchment, black dress jeans, and a green knapsack slung over his back.
Hello, Master,
A sweet voice said, gracing his ears. Spike swung around and froze. In front of him stood the love of his life, his goddess. And while he had been looking for her, he hadn't expected this. She was wearing a French Maid outfit that showed off her bountiful cleavage and ended in an extremely short skirt, revealing her long legs and black intricate stockings.
Oh my.
Yes.
Here, Master. Let me take your bag.
Rarity took Spike's bag from his neck and placed it on a shelf near her couch. She was holding back a laugh as she did so. She knew Spike would react like this when he saw her in her new, hand-sewn maid outfit. In fact, she had spent all day just waiting to show it off to him. She enjoyed teasing him. He was just too cute when he was nervous.
So, Master, can I get you anything? Or do anything for you?
Spike snapped out of his comatose state. Rarity, why do you keep calling me Master?
I keep calling you Master because until Twilight comes back Monday, I'm your maid and you're my master.
So fucking hot.
I try.
Why? Rarity was a bit surprised. She had expected him to be too focused on her new look to even care.
I thought it would be a nice change of pace. You always help me out and wait on me hand and claw after all.
How did you come to that conclusion? She couldn't believe how determined he was not to let it go.
Twilight might have mentioned that I overwork you sometimes, and I may have wanted to prove her wrong.
Suddenly Spike seemed disappointed. Oh, he sounded sad. Rarity, look, you don't have to do this to prove anything. I work hard for you because I want to. There's nothing to feel guilty about. Rarity was shocked. Here he was given the opportunity to have the mare of his dreams wait for him for an entire weekend, and he was telling her not to. He even said she had nothing to feel guilty about. She had never mentioned feeling guilty. How dare he assume such a thing? She was not letting him off the hook that easily.
Master, I insist. Until Twilight picks you up Monday, I'll do whatever you ask of me. I'll make your meals, fetch you drinks, and any other order you can think of.
Rarity, It's not necessary. You can just go put on your normal clothes and enjoy a normal weekend. Make a few dresses, hunt for gems, and I can help you with the chores around here. He was doing it again. He was trying to do all the work and get nothing in return. He was undermining not only her authority, but her generosity, and the thought that she had put into, and all the thought she had put into his special weekend.
Master, this is not up for debate.
And what if I order you to do it? She hadn't expected this response, but enough was enough.
If you do that, I won't talk to you for the rest of the weekend. Maybe even ever again. This is a gift from me, Master, and I won't have you throwing it away like some tacky shirt.
Spike was starting to realize just how serious Rarity was about this. Still, he had no interest in her pretending to care for him while she pranced around and played Maid. He wanted her to love him like he had loved her for all these years, not just feel obligated to pay him back. He knew that if he came up with an order insane enough, she wouldn't fulfill it. Then she would have to give up this act. She might be angry with him for a bit, but she'd get over it before the weekend ended. They could spend the rest of the time together, getting closer, just to see his hope. So, you'll complete any order then?
Yes.
Finally, he was seeing how amazing her gift was. And what if you refuse?
I won't refuse.
If you do, will you agree to let this be a normal weekend?
Sure, but I'm not going to falter, Master.
Rarity's confidence and excitement soared. This was going to be fun. Spike took a seat on the couch. I order you to remove your bra and panties. Spike smirked at his cleverness. Sure, it wasn't the most polite thing to order, nor would she be happy with him, but it was for the best. Now she could just refuse, forgive him in a few hours, and then they could enjoy their weekend.
What?
Rarity was taken by complete surprise. She had never expected such a vulgar request to come from Spike with his boyish charm. I said, take your bra and panties off, right here in front of me. In fact, give them to me. You're not allowed to wear any until Twilight comes to pick me up. Or you could refuse, and we could have a nice quiet weekend. Spike stuck out his hand, waiting. This would end now. Rarity gave in.
Of course, Master.
She removed her bra first, unbuttoning it from the back and pulling it through the front of her shirt. Next, she carefully slid her panties down her legs, making sure to give nothing away, and stepped out of them once they were on the floor. She bent down and picked them up. She then placed both pieces of her lingerie in Spike's hand. She couldn't believe she had just done that, and worse yet, how much she had enjoyed doing something so dirty in front of Spike. Once again, Spike was in a complete state of shock as he watched the mirror of his dreams remove her underwear while keeping her clothes on. He felt them shoved into his hands. He looked down and felt something wet. He put the bra on his leg and lifted the panties up to the light. There was a wet spot in the middle where her flower met the fabric. God damn it. Fabric. She had gotten aroused from being humiliated and degraded like that. Spike couldn't believe it. He looked up at his love and realized she was watching him inspect her panties. Very good. Start cleaning up in here. Unable to turn away, Rarity watched as Spike looked over her panties. She had seen the wet spot almost instantly. She hoped Spike would see it, point it out even. She didn't know where this was coming from. She was a lady, and ladies didn't act like this. Even as she went about cleaning the room, she could feel Spike's eyes on her. She was bending over way further than necessary to do the cleaning, and was using her tail to barely cover herself. Spike had a perfect view of her luscious ass and diamond-shaped cutie mark. All he had to do to see everything was order her to move her tail. It would be so easy for him to do it. And it would be so embarrassing, so demeaning, and so damn hot. She could feel the heat in her marehood increase as her arousal started dripping. Maybe he'd notice. Maybe he'd make her lick the mess up with her tongue. Goddamn. Okay. Or maybe he'd punish her for being so dirty. She had to move. She had to have more. She needed it. She could feel her tits stiffen, as if begging to give him something else to notice about her naughty little body.
Now you see this why this is in my favorites list?
Super clap.
This is the kinky fetishistic stuff.
Yes. Spike was sitting on the couch, losing his mind. Every time she bent over, he could catch a glimpse of her. No, he had to focus. He couldn't let his imagination wander over to that amazing cutie mark on her. Focus! How could he salvage this situation and get everything back to normal? How could he get her to move that tail? He could just order her to. Son of a bitch. He was doing it again. Maybe if he got her out of the room and for a few minutes, he could come up with a plan. Rarity, you're doing great, but could you make dinner? I'm feeling a bit hungry.
Of course, master.
Rarity bowed to Spike and headed into the kitchen. Rarity couldn't believe how disappointed she was as she started on dinner. Here she had given him a chance to completely take advantage of her, and instead he just sat there staring at her. Why couldn't he let go and give in to his desire and wants? He was just being a gentle Drake about it. He was being a gentle Drake. The characteristic she wanted that every single would-be suitor failed to achieve. In fact, why was she so interested in being degraded and used by Spike? She had never felt this way with anyone before, and Blueblood had humiliated her to no end. So why then did she want Spike to treat her like some plaything? Maybe if she thought about the differences between Spike and Blueblood, she'd have her answer. Blueblood was a prince, a pompous, arrogant jerk, a complete jackass, narcissistic to no end, and a total tool. Spike was a dragon, a gentle drake in fact. He was kind, he put everyone else's needs in front of his own, and she loved him. Wait, what was that last one? No, that couldn't be right. Sure, he was cute, more so than he was handsome, and he was kind, always being attentive to her needs, but she couldn't love him. Could she? Is that why she always enjoyed teasing him so much? Why she had instantly volunteered to watch him? Why she had been so offended by Twilight's accusation of him using her? Ugh, I don't even know how to talk anymore.
Her using him.
Yeah, that too. No, she wants him to use her.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's not a problem.
No, that's the problem at the moment because he's not doing it.
Oh man. Why had she gone to such lengths to prove Twilight wrong? Well, so what if she loved a dragon? She wasn't going to let him off the hook that easily. She would just have to push until he realized on his own that she wanted him to take advantage of her. By the end of the weekend, he was going to degrade her, humiliate her, use her, and make love to her. That BDSM.
Actually, it's not that bad. I think there's light spanking.
Spike sat in the living room trying to find an answer to his dilemma. Nothing so far had come close to even being the slightest bit feasible. Maid, Rarity, had left him more aroused than he'd ever been. It had only been an hour at most. How could he possibly last a whole weekend with her like this? He'd end up saying or doing something stupid, and then she'd never talk to him again. All the years he had spent building their relationship and loving her, just hoping that one day she'd love him back, would all be wasted due to one damn weekend. He could try to order her to do something worse than walking around with her underwear, but she'd never comply, and she'd hate him forever. He could try to give her the bra and panties back, but she would think he was going back on his order. That would be just as bad as ordering her to stop being a maid, and then she might never talk to him again. How did she think becoming his maid was a good idea in the first place? Sure, Twilight had put the idea that she overworked Spike into her head, but he knew that she didn't tell her to dress up as a maid and let him play master all weekend. Maybe she did it because she felt genuinely guilty about using him. Maybe she was worried that he wouldn't love her if she just accepted his help without some kind of reward. Why would she care if he loved her, though? Unless she loved him. Nah, that was crazy. Sure, he wanted her to love her more than anything, but he was nowhere good enough to be with her. What could she see in some punk of a dragon, after all?
Master, dinner's ready.
Spike was thrilled to escape from his thoughts, but terrified of being alone with Rarity once again. He walked into her dining room and saw her standing next to the table facing him. In front of her on the table was a plate of gemstones and a glass of water. He sat down at the table, making sure to sit as straight as possible, lest his manners fail in front of his love. It looks great, Rarity, but what are you going to eat?
I ate before you came over, Master.
Spike went to grab a ruby to eat, but before he could, Rarity picked it up.
Allow me, Master.
Rarity bent over the table in front of Spike and brought her face inches from his own. She lifted the ruby to his lips.
Here, have a bite, Master.
He knew better than to argue with her and took a large bite, eating more than half of the precious stone. It's delicious, Rarity, but I'll have to take it from here. Wouldn't want you losing your finger.
Oh, I know how to solve that problem, Master.
She placed part of the gem in her mouth. Rarity, what are you... In an instant, Rarity closed the gap between them and sealed his lip with a kiss. She slowly slid the ruby into his mouth with her tongue, and as she pulled away, she brushed her tongue against his fangs.
How was it, Master?
She asked, mustering up every bit of innocence she could. Spike's face turned red as he swallowed the piece of ruby whole. Delicious! He could still taste her in his mouth. He could feel her tongue against his fangs. He started feeling a different kind of hunger. He knew he had to do something before it overcame him. I'm feeling full. I'll just clean up.
Master, you really must stop doing that. I'm here to serve you, remember?
Rarity picked up the plate and walked towards the sink. She smiled to herself as she let one of the gems slide off the plate and onto the floor.
Whoops, clumsy me.
She bent over to pick the gem up, but this time she didn't cover herself. His eyes followed Rarity as she went to pick up the gem. He couldn't believe what he was seeing, though. Rarity's tail was a little too far to the left, and he was being treated to a full view of her marehood and ass. The image burned itself into his mind as she started slowly standing back up. She looked over her shoulder, and Spike was hoping that she hadn't seen him staring at her, or the dark red blush that his scales were hopefully hiding. Rarity was quite proud of herself, as she noted how red Spike's face looked. She had never done something so perverted as showing off her assets to anyone before, yet here she was, giving Spike's eyes a full-course meal of her. She found assets. Ass. She found herself thrilled from being watched, and she hoped Spike had noticed just how wet she was. Rarity, I'm feeling a bit tired. Where can I sleep? Spike asked, trying to end the night before things got any weirder. Sure, he enjoyed it, but the risk was just too great.
Well, you could sleep in my bed with me, Master.
Rarity suggested. That tramp. No, I think I should have a bed to myself. And not yours, Spike swallowed.
Of course, Master. You can stay in the guest bedroom. Let me get your bag for you.
Thanks, Rarity.
Anything for you, Master.
Rarity led Spike upstairs to his guest room, next to her own room, and over to the bed. She placed the bag on the ground next to the bed, being careful not to bend over. She wanted Spike to believe his peek earlier was accidental. Looks great. Thanks again for having me this weekend.
Oh, no need, Master. I'm happy to have you this weekend. I just hope you'll be happy to have me.
Rarity cooed seductively, and quickly walked out the door before Spike could respond, leaving him confused about her statement. Try as he might, Spike could just not get to sleep, rather. All he could think about was Rarity and her recent behavior. He could still taste her lips on his, feel her warmth as their lips met. He couldn't get the image of her exposed out of his mind. He could still see every detail. Her teal triple diamond-shaped cutie marks. Her white furry ass. Her cute little butthole. God damn it.
Cute butthole.
Butthole. Sphincter. And that incredible... that anus, though. And that incredibly tight white furry flower. He'd never get any sleep at this rate. He needed to relieve himself. Is this turning into spiking the gel?
Yes. It's turning into your fic.
It's turning into my fic. Oh, man. It was her house. Hell, she was in the next room. He couldn't do that. Could he? If he didn't, he'd never get any sleep. With a sigh, Spike got up and headed to the bathroom. He grabbed a few pieces of tissue paper and headed back to his temporary bed. He unbuttoned his pants, still doubting his decision, and pulled them down.
Need some help with that, Master?
Spike froze, literally caught with his pants down. Rarity, it's not what you think.
Oh, don't worry, Master. It's perfectly natural for a young man to need to relieve stress.
Rarity stepped out of the shadows in front of Spike, still wearing her maid outfit.
Allow me.
Rarity pushed Spike onto the bed and proceeded to pull down his boxers. Wait a minute, Rarity.
No, I think we've both waited long enough, Master. Now just sit back and enjoy.
Rarity looked at Spike to discover he was missing something essential to her plan.
Where's your, tool?
It slides out from the scales near my waist. Giving in to his desires, Spike decided against fighting her. After all, he'd always dreamed of her doing something like this. Rarity breathed gently where Spike indicated, and was rewarded with 2 large testaments to dragon virility.
You have 2?
It's a dragon thing,
Well, yay for dragons.
Rarity replied with a sexy smile.
Whore.
What?
I said whore.
Yeah, she is.
She's all excited about the
Two.
penis thing.
2 dicks! 2.
It's twin dragons.
The twin double dragon.
Double dragon fist punch.
Oh my gosh. Rarity pulled the top of her dress down, revealing her sizable bust and teal nipples. She brought Spike's twin dragons together and began slowly working her tongue up and around them. She stopped suddenly and gave Spike a mischievous look. Then she surrounded Spike's lower shaft with her generous breasts and began sucking on his top one. She began taking more and more of Spike into her mouth, slowly at first, as she used her hands to begin squeezing and moving her boobs up and down against Spike's lower rod. She finally managed to take all of Spike's sizable length, moving back and forth with her mouth, as she looked up into his eyes with half-lidded ones. God. Sexy. So sexy.
I know, right? I know, right?
Spike was amazed he could even still think with how great he felt. He had never imagined such a state of ecstasy was possible. He could feel her throat and mouth as she took him in, her hot breath, moist mouth, and beautiful tight lips driving him crazy. But add on the way she was sucking him and rolling her tongue around his shaft, and it was almost too much. He could feel the warmth from her breasts, the fur against his exposed lower member, and the movements and squeezing from her hands. With no idea how he lasted this long, he knew he wouldn't be able to hold out much longer, as he felt a familiar feeling of release from deep within.
You got me so hypnotized, the way your body rolling round and round. That booty just bumping, titties just bouncing up and down.
Theme song. Way to go. Rarity, I'm gonna come, Spike managed with a half growl, half pant. She quickened her pace as she felt her own arousal increase at the thought of having Spike come in her mouth and all over her breasts. That dragon cum. Dragon cum.
That hot dragon cum.
Dragging these nuts across your face.
He kinda is.
With a powerful roar, Spike came, shooting a stream of emerald fire upwards into the dark. Fire, okay. Rarity could feel drops of something almost scaldingly hot shoot all over her chest, but was preoccupied trying to swallow all of the sticky, salty, incredibly hot liquid pouring down her throat and into her mouth. She had never experienced something so satisfying and exhilarating as what was happening. She came to her orgasm. Oh, yes. Does that even happen? Can you just like come from
Yes.
like
Yes.
no stimulation at all? Really? I guess it is.
I've come from a good blowjob before.
That's okay. Okay, I just wanted to know. I just thought that was kind of a little fantasy right there, but okay. It's all fantasy. What do I know?
It's all fantasy. How often do you have a horsewoman
You've never
giving
sucked
a
off a
blowjob
dragon
to a
dick?
dragon? No. Sorry, I don't shop on Bad Dragon.
Oh, yes. She came to her orgasm, soaking her legs in the floor with juices from nothing more than her own excitement and the experience of swallowing Spike's. Rarity removed herself from Spike to catch her breath and began using her tongue to clean up the rest of the hot liquid on Spike, making sure to get every last drop. Wow, Rarity. That was amazing. Spike spoke, trying to maintain his bounce with his arms. Coming face to face with Spike, Rarity swallowed the last of his cum.
Master, you aren't the only one who enjoyed themselves either.
Rarity lowered her hand down to her mare hood and slowly swept two of her fingers across, coating them with her juices. She brought her fingers up in front of Spike's face so that he could clearly see her orgasm. Then she stuck her tongue out and licked off her cum, noting how sweet and salty she tasted. She kissed Spike, sticking her tongue in his mouth and moving it over every inch, effectively coating his mouth with her taste. Wait, wouldn't he be eating his own cum too? I just realized.
No.
Oh.
Like, yeah, yeah, kinda, because he came in her mouth.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
So that's pretty much like a cream pie.
God. Rarity broke the kiss and looked at Spike's face. He had a rather drunken smile and a look of disbelief. She loved it.
What's the matter? Weird? You've never tasted yourself?
I've never tasted my own cum. I can honestly say that.
That's how you find out if you taste good enough for the ladies. You have to taste test.
Oh, okay. I can see a lot of pineapple.
Ooh, and kiwi.
Yeah, that too. Anyway.
That's how I get my flavor.
Mm.
Yeah, Capri Sun.
Capri Sun. Respect the pouch. Where was I? As she loved it.
Good night, Master. Call me if you need more relief or anything else.
Rarity walked out of the room, leaving Spike in a state of euphoria. Spike collapsed backwards onto the bed, exhausted and happy. This whole thing had been so amazing that it had to be a dream. He hoped he'd never wake up from it, as he managed to pull up his boxers and pants. He could have sworn he heard Rarity scream his name in pleasure before falling asleep on the bed. Okay. Rarity sat on her own bed, wondering what had possessed her to do something so wrong, so unladylike, and so thrilling. She could still feel the arousal pull out of her. Her orgasm, instead of quenching her fire, had only succeeded in making it stronger. Slowly she moved one hand down to her mare hood as she thought of what she had done to Spike. She started slowly rubbing her fingers across it, moaning in pleasure. She could tell that God, she could tell that she was more than we already have enough people masturbating to this. She could tell that she was more than ready as she inserted two fingers into herself, enjoying the feeling of being penetrated. She used her free hand to gather Spike's cum off her chest and then lick her fingers clean, amazed by how warm it still was. She began moving the two fingers inside her in slow, circular motions. Then she started spreading them apart and bringing them back together, still sensitive from her first orgasm. She knew it wouldn't be long until she finished. She moved her fingers straight to her most sensitive area and brought her cum-covered hand down to her clit. She screamed out in ecstasy. Just popped the boner right there.
Thank you.
She screamed out in ecstasy as her second orgasm of the night rolled over her and soaked her sheets. She hoped Spike was still awake to hear her scream out his name. For a moment she considered covering herself with her blankets, but instead found that the warmth on her stomach and the idea of Spike in her stomach, and the idea of Spike walking in on her, completely exposed and drenched in her own pleasure, would be more than enough to keep her warm for the night. She fell asleep dreaming of all the ways she and her Spiky Wakey would enjoy tomorrow. Oh, okay. They didn't have sex.
They kind of did,
Oral sex.
and both parties came.
They did. I see what you did
Isn't
there.
that what really counts?
Yeah, I guess. I came.
I hit him right there in the jaw.
Came, I saw. Yes.
Turn that song into something even worse.
I came.
I hit him right there in the jaw.
Yes. Anyway, that was the first chapter of a weekend made for Spike. I just realized that was a pun. Damn it.
That's a pun.
I get it. I think I'm gonna release these as separate chapters. So we'll be back with the next chapters, guys. Soon. Until then, everyone say goodbye to Lana. Lana, say goodbye.
Lana Demetria Legion 42 on YouTube. There's a Lana Legion Facebook, Lana Legion Twitter. You guys are fans? Add me.
That plug. I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of plugs in here, aren't we?
Sorry, lots of self-promotion.
Butt plugs.
Well, maybe.
No, not that.
I think there's a vibrator.
Anal beads.
No, I think it's a vibrator
Oh, okay.
placed in the anus.
And of course, you guys know who I am, Weird Alicorn. And I'll be back with Lana. We'll be reading more of the Sexy Times. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.